Welcome to the Zono Sports Show, where you know Zonos. Who's yawning now after our Super Bowl results from over this past weekend? Let me chill. I still got to do a show. Jaguars almost rocked the world against New England in Foxborough. They went up there, balled out the first half. They were up most of the game against the Patriots. And that defense has shown why they call it Saxonville. However, when you've got Tom Brady at quarterback, you are inevitably never out of it. Tom Brady was unaffected by that injured hand that we heard about all week. Oh, somebody bumped into him. He hurt his hand. He's got a cut on it. We didn't even know what was really wrong with it until we saw him in the game with the tape over the cut. So, I first thought it was jammed. That's what I thought initially when I heard about the running back bumping into him. And they say it could have been Rex Burkhead. Tony Romo said that on TV. However, we don't know that player. But in all of that, with everything that went on, all the discrepancies with who's going to play, is Tom Brady going to be out there? Can the Jacksonville defense, can they show up? Can Blake Bortles do what he's supposed to do? Can he play like a true champion and take down Tom Brady? That wasn't the case. The Patriots are headed to their third Super Bowl appearance in 4 years. When you think about that, that's basically domination on so many levels. Football's a physical game. We understand basketball, the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Golden State Warriors, they've met 3 straight finals, could be 4 this year. However, to think in football, you could get a team, a quarterback, to make it to 3 out of 4 Super Bowls in a 4-year span, unprecedented, plain and simple. Danny Amendola, he caught a ball down the stretch that actually sealed the deal for the Patriots against the Jaguars. He will be a key down the final stretch of the season in this final game in the Super Bowl because we saw Barry Church lay the nasty hit on Gronkowski. Rob Gronkowski laid on the turf. They had to walk him off. He clearly had a concussion, but 2 weeks from now, of course, he plays, right? Duh. Brandon Cooks, he'll be key as well. He had 6 receptions, 100 yards. That's that big play threat that they went out and got from New Orleans, which made everybody say, oh, this team's unbeatable. There's no way they don't make the Super Bowl. And where are they at? They're back at the Super Bowl. Coach Belichick finds himself back fighting for a championship. Now, Blake Bortles, I want to talk about Blake Bortles. People talked about him all year as if he was a bum. The last quarterback that I know of that was a straight bum, Rex Grossman comes to mind. Colt McCoy for the Browns. You could also say Johnny Football, Jamarcus Russell, but I think Johnny Football might be back. He's with the CFL. However, Blake Bortles just signed a sneak deal this year and will make $19 million next year. He earned that money. He earned it in the playoffs. This game, he was 23 for 36, 293 yards with 1 TD, no picks. You can't throw picks and expect to win in Foxborough. So he played a decent game. It just came down to Tom Brady being Tom Brady, and when the cards are stacked against him, what does he do? He's like the mailman. He's not Karl Malone, but he delivers on time, and he has delivered another Super Bowl appearance for the New England fan base. Now, as far as Jacksonville goes, the Jaguars are here to stay. They play defense. As long as you play defense in the NFL, you will always have a chance to compete for championships. Look at the Seahawks from a couple years ago, the Legion of Boom, when it was alive and well. You had not Russell Wilson. You had Richard Sherman. You had Earl Thomas that was healthy. Cam Chancellor was healthy. Michael Bennett was healthy. Brandon Mebane was there. They had players that were young that could run around, and I see similar qualities in this Jacksonville defense. So if you're a Jacksonville fan, I'm not gonna say anything negative about the Jaguars. I have in the past, but the Jaguars are for real and they're here to stay. They're not a bottom of the barrel team as they were a couple years ago, like the Cleveland Browns. So I fully expect them to be back there next year. And Blake Bortles, I think he's been pissed off this playoffs and showed that he's definitely a quarterback that can run a team, that can carry an NFL team. But we shall see if that bleeds into next season. Now, the Pats will play the Eagles. The Eagles, their game was not entertaining whatsoever. They stomped out the Vikings like 53 cigarette butts, 38-7. 53 for the number of players on the roster. Did you catch that? Now, Minnesota, I think honestly what happened with them, they got caught up in that Minnesota miracle. The pass to Stephon Diggs, and he runs in the end zone, takes his hat off like Rod Tidwell from Jerry Maguire and throws it, does all this dramatic stuff, Titanic. And what happens? They go up there to Philadelphia where they're wearing dog masks because they're the underdog for the second week in a row, second home underdog in a row by Vegas. They go up there and get smoked by the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, Case Keenum, he threw 2 picks. Nick Foles, he was 26 for 33, 352 yards, 3 TDs, no picks whatsoever. Of course he's going to play comfortable. He's playing with house money. You're on a good team. The starting quarterback got hurt. You already played a couple decent games. You're at home. You can air that thing out. He had the long pass to Alshon Jeffrey. It was fearless. He stepped up in the pocket. He looked so comfortable. Why? Because he knows that the team is not his team. He knows that when Carson Wentz is healthy, he ain't going nowhere. He ain't going nowhere. Because he is the quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles. And if you think about, and to mention Nick Foles, he's had that up and down career, started with the Rams, and we all thought this guy is really not that great of a quarterback. He's an Arizona guy, came out of college. I thought he was mediocre, but he's shown that he can actually lead a team. So I'm sure late night when he's sitting with his significant other and they're in the bed, he's pillow talking, baby, don't worry. I'm going to get us out of here. I'm balling right now. Carson comes back. This is his team anyway. I'm just playing, babe. We're going to get paid. And yes, Nick Foles, if you keep playing like that, you will get paid. Now, to Carson Wentz, I'm pretty sure he's calm about this entire thing. If you saw the story on him, the young man Lucas Custers, they call him the Dutch Destroyer. If you haven't seen that story, it was done by E60. Lucas Custers. I watched this story a few months ago, and he this is a young man that passed away of cancer in June of 2017. His family's big Eagles fans, and when I watched this story, I watched the connection between Carson Wentz and the world outside of football. And what I saw was impactful. It was inspirational. And I want to say that I said on this show, and I'm going to go find the footage for y'all. You know, this is a one-man production, but I'm going to find the footage. I want to say that I said I think the Eagles will possibly win the Super Bowl. That is my Super Bowl favorite at this point. I like the Eagles to win it. Now, this, I want to say, was at least 2 months ago. But watching that story gave me a piece about what they've got going on in that organization, the relationship that Carson Wentz can have with people outside of football. I guarantee that he can duplicate those type of relationships in the locker room. So just the energy on that team, the spirit on that team, Chris Long wearing the dog mask, turned up. That team is a cohesive unit, and I think they could potentially pull the upset, beat the Patriots, and Carson Wentz, he's chilling because, I mean, you know, I did win 14 games. Not win, but I did play 14 games, and, I mean, I am kind of the reason we got here. I did play most of the season, like 80% of it, so I'm chilling. Let's get this ring and get up out of here, boys, and I'll suit up next year for us. So Carson Wentz, be on the lookout for him because I honestly think that he's a Hall of Famer in the making. I said that before. I'll say it again. He is a Hall of Fame quarterback if he can stay healthy. Carson Wentz is the man. Now, the Vikings offensive coordinator Pat Shurmur was hired as head coach of the Giants. Great for the Giants. He was with the Browns before, lost a lot of games. I think career record was 10-23 overall. Don't know how that guy gets another shot at head coach. But, you know, I guess you have to get another shot at head coach if those games are coaching for the Browns because that organization is so dysfunctional. I feel sorry for Joe Thomas. They had him on TV this morning for First Take, and he looked like he was so uncomfortable trying to defend his team because he's been there so long. But I like Joe Thomas. Greatest tackle that I've seen in quite some time. Now, what happens with the QB situation in Minnesota? Will Teddy Bridgewater get the job back next year because he didn't this year? Will Case Keenum be rewarded for his play throughout the season, even though he was not the projected starter coming into this season? That's interesting to find out because they've also got Sam Bradford on the books as well. Or do they go out and try to trade up some spots, get rid of Bridgewater, get rid of Keenum, get rid of Bradford, and just say, you know what, let's just get a young quarterback to put with Stephon Diggs, to put with Jarrett McKinnon, to put with Dalvin Cook. Let's just go get a young guy. Let's go get Sam Darnold. Let's trade all these guys. Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. We shall see what the Vikings do. Now, NBA-wise, welcome to As the World Turns. This week's episode, we find out about the Cleveland Cavaliers' domestic disputes in the locker room. Yes, I said domestic disputes among grown men. Now, they were blown out by OKC the other day. Kevin Love exited the game with an illness, said he was sick, headed home. That obviously rubbed some players the wrong way. So evidently yesterday, they had a big locker room meeting and a big discussion about the issues on the team. It got really heated. They were questioning Kevin Love. Where you at, bro? Where were you at? We was out there getting busted. Where were you? Where were you? Where were you, Kevin? Where were you? where were you guys on defense? Because regardless of whether he's there or not, you guys don't play any defense. So you won't win with him on the court. You won't win with him off the court. And every time I look up and watch ESPN, I watch Fox, every time I see any sports show, I see people talking about Kevin Love and what Kevin Love didn't do. And this and that. I see Kevin Love being raked through the coals. It can't just be Kevin Love. It can't be. I understand that LeBron James, the greatest player in the world, we love to attach that term to his name. We love to fixate ourselves on what he does highlight-wise and the things that he's done as far as championships, which 2 of those championships were manufactured. I'll give him the Cleveland one. He earned that. He earned that with the block. I'll give him the Cleveland one. But the other 2, But Kevin Love, I think, honestly, they should try to trade this man because his name's always in drama. It's always been in drama. When, in fact, if you look at Isaiah Thomas, he's in the second unit jacking up a bunch of shots. People are probably frustrated with that. That was reported as well. They talked about maybe trying to trade for Kemba Walker. But all in all, the Cavaliers are just frustrated because they know there's a big beast that they can smell coming over the horizon named Golden State. And they know that broom is coming out of the closet and they're going to get... So everybody's salty. You got all this infighting. You got people who don't know if they want to be on the team. It's all because Golden State, the Warriors, they strike fear in the hearts of men, the likes of LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Kevin Love, Isaiah Thomas, Jay Crowder, Tristan Thompson, Iman Shumpert, Channing Frye. I could go name the whole Cleveland roster. But Golden State is the reason why they're having all this drama in their locker room. Trust me. Dan Gilbert and Kobe Alton, you have to make a move. You have to make a move right now. If you want LeBron James to stay in Cleveland, because he sure in hell looks like he's not right now. If you want him to stay, you have to make a move. And it needs to be done fast. Because if it ain't, this could be the Cleveland LeBron-less Cavaliers next year for sure. For sure. But this year, trust me, you guys won't make it past Houston or Golden State from the West. So let's just hope you guys make it out of the East because Boston, they look pretty good over there. And there's a guy over there that got you your last championship, Cleveland, so you should be kind of salty and worried at the same time. Now, also, other news in the NBA, Jason Kidd was fired by the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, this was done kind of tacky. They said they met the man at a pizza restaurant and informed him that he'd be fired, the GM and the owner or team president, whoever it was. Management met him at a pizza restaurant and said, basically, listen, it's not working out, Jason. We're going to have to let you go. Now, please, give me another story of a coach, NBA coach, Hall of Fame NBA player turned coach that was met at a pizza joint to be told and informed they were fired. Now, 15 minutes prior, Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek Freak, called and asked Kidd, hey, what can I do? Can I help you? Well, I can bring snacks to practice. I can feed everybody. I can buy some cars for management. I'll do it. Now, he didn't say all that. But he basically said, what can I do, Coach Kidd, to try to keep you as head of our team? Because I like your leadership. I want you to be my coach. And Coach Kidd basically told him, Jason said, son, you can't do much about it. All you can do is tell the truth. Now, they're 23-22, 8th in the East. They should be much better. And you know, you want to see diversity as far as coaching goes in the NBA, but you also want to see results. So I can respect where the Bucks are coming from because they've got a young team. They've got Kumpo. They've got Eric Bledsoe. They've got Jabari Parker. They've got, is he healthy yet? I'm pretty sure he's healthy. Is he healthy? They've got Chris Middleton. They've got Thon Maker. They've got so many players on this roster that should be doing much more, but they're not getting the results that they want, which is wins. So what do? You got to change something up. You can't knock them for that. Now, the best NBA news in the last week, LeBron James and Steph Curry were both voted All-Star captains. I cannot wait to find out which players these two gentlemen decide to draft. Because, of course, you all know this year for the All-Star game, it's not East versus West. It's who's going to draft who. It's these are the All-Stars. Pick who you want. I think this could turn comical and elementary schoolish because you're going to have a lot of players that get their feelings hurt. You may have a guy who gets picked last say, I don't even want to play. I don't even want to be in the game. No, I don't think we'll see that. But this will definitely get interesting because we want to see who's going to pick who. Doc Rivers and Tom Thibodeau are on the record saying that they think the NBA should televise the NBA All-Star Draft. I think they should too. Even Rachel Nichols reminded Doc Rivers that, hey, in the NHL All-Star Draft, they actually gave the last person who got picked a car. So they could throw in some incentive for the last guy who gets picked so everybody can not feel too sour about being picked last, like they're the sorriest of the All-Stars in the group, because these are obviously not sorry players or they wouldn't be All-Stars in the first place. But they got to do something. But I'd love to see this on TV because I want to see KD's face when LeBron picks him up. I want to see Kyrie's face when LeBron says, not him. I want to see all that. So, NBA, reconsider. I heard that they're going to do this sometime at the end of January here in the next couple weeks. So, reconsider, please. Because we'd love to see it as fans. College hoops-wise, the most advertised, decorated recruit with highlights since LeBron James, Zion Williamson commits to Duke. Also, Duke was able to capture R.J. Barrett, which is number 1 recruit for next year. Cam Reddish, number 3 recruit for 2018. Now, I look at all this. Zion Williams, he's a guy, when I look at his athletic ability, no, he's not the number 1 recruit in the ESPN 100 in 2018, but this kid is amazing. I remember being in 8th grade in 2003, looking at stories and seeing magazine covers with this guy, LeBron James, and watching the things he was doing on a basketball court at such a young age. And I look at Zion Williams, he's much more developed physically than LeBron James, and I think he's more skilled. And that may be a lofty statement for me to make because LeBron went straight to the NBA, but trust me, if the one and done rule didn't exist, Zion Williamson would be on an NBA roster next year. I guarantee you that. But watching this guy, I want you all to keep in mind, Zion Williamson, because of what he can do athletically, he's going to a program like Duke where he'll be on TV every single week. That's why he went there. You play for Clemson, you play for South Carolina. Sometimes you'll be on SEC Network. Sometimes you'll be on ACC Network. But you go to Duke, you're most likely going to be on ESPN, ESPN2 every single game. So I think that's what attracted him to Duke, the exposure. But Zion Williamson, trust me, Zion Williamson will be your kid's favorite player in the next 5 years. I guarantee you that. Now, college hoops-wise, Now, also, one thing I wanted to touch on about this entire Zion Williamson signing that was really telling for me as far as the way the recruiting landscape in college basketball. You know, Kentucky, their window has closed. They just fell out of the top 25 for the first time since 2014. Coach Cal struggling with these young freshmen. He's been struggling with freshmen the last couple years. Now, I look at this entire scheme of things in college basketball. Everybody was against the one and done rule. Coach K didn't like it. You had people like Izzo that didn't like it. But now, you know what? They've embraced it. They want these guys. They want these kids to come to their program so they can compete. So Coach K said, you know what, Cal? You're going to do that? Then I'm going to play your game and play it a little bit better than you. Coach Cal has lived off these top 3, top 5 recruits his entire coaching tenure at Kentucky. But now that Coach K's getting them, Coach Cal, what are you going to do? Now you have to actually coach some, right? So I look at the framework of what's going on, and I say, you know what? The old school players have caught up to the new school pimp. So, and I say that because my family in Memphis, they all call Coach Calipari Calipimp because he gets them in and they get the wins. But I will say, Coach K, he's definitely caught up to what Kentucky's been doing, and I think that he's improved it exponentially. So, Coach Cal, I'm looking forward to seeing how you respond to this, how your program looks in the next 3, 4, 5 years when Duke continues to get these great one-and-dones. Now, and the one thing I wanted to add to that, maybe you should look at mixing a few upperclassmen in there, like a Grayson Allen, people like that, so they can actually help these kids grow and develop. Get a talented guy that's going to be there 3 or 4 years instead of getting all these young kids that are in and out year after year after year. It's like being in a casino, shooting craps. You want to develop some of these players, Coach Cal. Remember that. Now, next show, make sure you watch. And also tonight you want to watch Trae Young versus Kansas. Now, they always highlight this kid's games. He's 19 years old, great point guard for Oklahoma. They're calling him the next Chef Curry with the pot. However, he struggled the last couple games, and people are asking me questions in my DM like, Zoe, hey, are people figuring out Trae Young? Do they know what he's doing? Like, do we know who he is now? Is that why he's guys, he's averaging 30 and 10 as a freshman. Cool out. When it's all said and done, they showed us a stat yesterday that said any team that's had a freshman producing as much as he's produced has never won an NCAA tournament game. And I watched this Oklahoma team score almost 100 points every other week, and I said there's no way this team doesn't win an NCAA tournament game. This team is for sure, if they get the right matchups, a Sweet 16 team at bare minimum. So check out Trae Young tonight versus Kansas, and we'll see what happens. I'm sure he goes off. They at the crib. I'm sure he drops 30, right? So make sure you check out the Zono Sports Show. Check out all the good games. We'll have to talk next week. Thank you for watching the Zono Sports Show. I enjoyed this episode. Keep watching, or Zonos.